Welcome to the Cincy Postcast. I'm Kevin Wallace, and before we get started with today's episode, I want to tell you about our friends over at Streetside Brewery. You will find them over on the east side of Cincinnati in the Columbia-Tusculum neighborhood, or in the beer section of your favorite beer shop. Yeah. A shop is where you might buy beer. Streetside Brewery are so daggone good. They have a wide variety of excellent beers. I can vouch for it because I can tell you, honestly, I've tried every single one. I've tasted every single one. Name a beer, I've had it, okay? Of theirs, not all of the beers. That'd be wild. Streetside is a really cool spot. The venue, the place is amazing. The beer is delicious. The food is great. They've got a great spot to watch FC Cincinnati matches. All of your away match needs are taken care of over at Streetside. It is a really cool place. Really friendly people. We are so happy to have them sponsoring this episode and so many other episodes of the Post Cincy or the Postcast. I guess it's not episode. Man, somebody should figure out that brand at some point. But thank you to Streetside for sponsoring this one, and go support them. Buy their beers, show up on FC Cincinnati matches or any other time. It's a good place. Check them out. Huge thank you to Streetside for sponsoring this episode. And on today's episode, wow, it's a winning streak of 3 matches in a row. FC Cincinnati with a great performance on the road in Orlando. That makes it 3 wins in 3 matches, all in the month of June. That is a perfect month. We will finish the month of June perfect. Boy, it was one rough week leading up to the June matches, and things are certainly looking a different way. Dado gets a start. Evander with magic. We cover all of it in part 1. In part 2, we answer your Patreon questions, including talking about poems, talking about curses, talking about technology. We cover it all in a very lovely episode of the Postcast. Joining me to talk about all of that and more, I am joined by 2 gentlemen who are as mad as you are that FC Cincinnati just completed the month of June. 3 wins in 3 matches. I'm joined by the Chief. I'm joined by Grayson. Now, before we talk about the team and how mad we are at everything, that was a joke, to be clear. I need a sanity check. I took this photo. I don't know if this photo will send. I just realized it is posted in a weird file format. If this does not send, that's fine. I'll just describe to you what was on it. This might work. This might not work. See if you can see this. And then, Chief, if you don't mind describing to people what you see in this photo.
I see 2, what appears to be 2 twin beds pushed together with 2 different bedspreads, and like very clearly a his and hers setup where there's the Stanley water bottle that's the dead giveaway on one side. Yeah, no, this looks like a cozy little setup right here. Maybe like a vacation spot. I don't know.
So this is a photo I took of my bed this morning because I have a life pro tip that I just want to make sure is not like an insane thing in my marriage. My wife and I have 2 different like sheet sets on the same bed so that we are not competing for covers at night. And so this is what this has ended up looking like. This is not a deliberate choice as to
this is a European thing.
Oh, okay. It's
very, very common there.
Wow.
For there to be 2, at least I've not done a poll or anything.
Sure.
But something I've noticed in my travels is often getting into a bedroom and looking and seeing, oh, there's like, instead of one big comforter,
right,
there's like 2 half comforters.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I'm gonna refer to this as the half Van Dyke. Like, you're not doing the full Dick Van Dyke setup where there's two separate beds you're sleeping in.
Correct.
But like, there does appear to be a clear demarcation between the his and hers side of the bed. I don't know that it would pass 1950s television censors, but you know, you would at least you'd be in the ballpark right there. I don't think this is crazy. I mean,
good.
No, it's you know, my Mrs. Chief, my wife, she
it is impossible to say my wife, I think, after 2006.
No, it's done. It's done. Like, that's so millennial coded too, I think, as well. I think that anyone older or younger is not going to, you know, it was kind of like the Austin Powers, where like there were several lines of English dialogue you just had to do in the Michael Myers Austin Powers accent. No, she prefers like a sheet to sleep. I like to have a comforter, so we end up with just different parts of the bedspread that like each of us is using at any given moment.
That's funny. Yeah, this is you know, these are full size duvets, or you know, comforters, whatever terminology you want to use. We did not plan it out necessarily this way, but it has worked out really well to just fold it in half and then have his and her sides of the bed. And I just wanted to make sure that wasn't an insane thing. And Grayson, I'm happy to learn that I just accidentally invented something that Europe has been doing, I'm sure, for a long time. Good.
You're a learned continental.
Yeah,
is what you are.
That's it. All right. Well, that's enough of my nonsense. I took that photo this morning and thought I need a sanity check, and I was then also thinking that might be the most prep I've ever done for the podcast. So that was good.
What I will note too is there's only one side of the bed appears to have enough wires to charge all of the devices that one might have. So I don't know what that's going on with, but.
Yeah, well, if you stare at that photo real long, you'll see the other weird thing that I've tried, which is there's a wire running up the back of the wall there. That drives me nuts. We got rid of the TV in the bedroom, but before you give me any credit for that, replaced it with a projector that is now above the bed. So now the wall in front of us is a giant TV. So there you go.
Just whatever it takes to get you through the night, you know?
Right.
Makes it a little awkward when you wake up and you can't sleep and you want to turn the TV on and it's a giant ass projector on the wall. It's like, looks like the Death Star shooting off. It's like waking everybody up in like a 4-block radius.
The dogs probably just bite me on principle there.
Let's bite, yeah.
Boy, FC Cincinnati.
It's a good and bad night for soccer. It's good because we get to talk about an FC win. It's bad because before we started recording, we were sitting and watching the PKs with the U.S. men's national team. All of us cheering for Costa Rica, just so that we come closer to getting Miles Robinson back for the weekend.
There's still a chance. There's still a chance. They play Wednesday.
Oh, I thought this was about to be like, if Mike Pence has the courage, we can fix the result of that PK shootout.
There's no third place game this year. And
that's nice.
One Kimi Ordonez plays for Guatemala.
He's got him.
What if Kimi scores the goal to send Miles back to FC Cincinnati?
Especially if that goal is like against Miles Robinson in some way, right?
It won't be. He doesn't play. They take him away for a month and sit him on the bench, and you know, I guess we like it. We're happy about it.
I mean, you're solving the problem of overuse for some of our players, because now he should be good to go for the rest of the year.
That's a good point. Why does Miles do that if like so many of the first teamers can't be bothered to show up?
Oh, I think this was a mistake on Miles's part. I think that like he should have like totally diva'd this. Once Pulisic said, "I'm out, I'm not showing up for this," Miles should have been like, "Yeah, me too. I'm a starter." No.
That's a good point. Showing up shows you're not a starter.
Right. Yeah. No, it's like, I'm not going to show up with these bum ass MLS players right here. No, I am a locked on starter at center back. No, I'm opting out of this too, like all of my fellow starting brethren.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting because it's like, you get like Jesse Marsh with Canada losing. Jesse was able to say, "Well, we were missing half of our team." Right. So the
against
more guys,
Guatemala,
the more guys that bow out, the stronger the excuse is for the manager when the team eventually loses.
That's good.
So can Pochettino say like, oh, the reason why we didn't win the Gold Cup is because our starters weren't available. Like we didn't have any starters in the lineup because
we didn't have Miles Robinson. We didn't have Matt Miazga. Nick Hagglund got injured.
Yeah.
Didn't
call up Brandon Vasquez.
Lucho's paperwork is being held up.
Yeah. Lucho's paperwork. Dude, at this point, I almost think like Evander is more likely to play for the U.S. men's national team than Lucho.
It feels right. It'd be great too. Just like if Evander's paperwork gets fast tracked now that he's here in Cincinnati.
Dude,
he makes his one-time switch and he gets the spot over Lucho. That would be the ultimate like total middle finger to the legacy of one Mr. Acosta right there.
What's the deal with these gold card things?
That's a great point.
So I just saw a picture of one of our owners. I'm not sure. Maybe he owns like a large minority stake in the team. Carl Lindner III with JD Vance, right?
Right.
Yeah.
At a Club World Cup game. Why doesn't Carl just ask JD what the deal is and just get all of our big signing citizenship right away? Like if it's a matter of like cutting like a $5 million check, they're already at DP. Just do it.
I mean, how much would he have to do? How much would Carl have to spend to just get a stack of them that he can just have on his desk like a business card, where it's like, hey, I'm Carl. Here's my card, and here's your card as well. And then,
that's the thing. It's like he's spending so much money donating to these people to get nothing.
You got to get something back, right?
Right. So like you think like a smart businessman would say, okay, well, like I've been donating all this money to you guys for a while. Now I just need like a stack of green cards with blanks.
I'm already a U.S. citizen. Can I get this too? Because this is incredible.
The website is
actually it doesn't matter that I'm a U.S. citizen. I might need this anyway. Fuck.
That's a great point. The website is trumpcard.gov. And I cannot believe I have to say this. This is a real U.S. government website.
Well, so that's a good point, Chief. You got to have something that you keep on you all the time.
Yeah. In
case, a random person off the street wearing an Affliction t-shirt points a gun at you and says to get into a van. And and like, I guess Carl could use his selfie with JD Vance, but the problem is, Apparently, if you have a picture of JD Vance on your phone, they kick you out.
Photos of JD Vance don't feel like a good insurance policy here.
Hell yeah!
This is just the cheesy. This is what a parody website would look like.
You can't edit a picture of the vice president to make him look ridiculous.
Yeah,
he just shaved his beard that day.
I can't believe this is a real website. This is incredible. Here, I'm. You know what?
Apply.
They don't have to. Well, no, I'm not applying. Here, I'm doing this right here. I'm applying for Evander right now. Hi, my name is Evander da Silva Ferreira from South America, and I'm interested as an individual for myself. My email is info@fccincinnati.com. We're gonna get this process going right here. Hey, I know you as a listener. Hey, Pochettino, Mauricio, I have a solution to your problem at midfield.
Evander has a green card, by the way.
Well, he's about to get a gold card too if I have anything to do with it. 4 times points at restaurants.
Right.
Let's go.
We got to make clear. We need to make sure we make the appropriate ask.
Yeah, the appropriate ask is this form right here. Done. Submitted.
You should have said Evander was from South Africa.
Right? You would have gotten right in.
Right.
I'm from I don't know, East Germany.
Right. That'd be good. Wait, what is the I'm scanning this.
I'm from occupied Britain.
Stockholm. Stockholm under siege.
From Malmo.
What is the residency requirement? Do you need?
I don't know.
That's so good.
What? We're talking about requirements. Whatever. You just got to ask the right people the right questions, buy the right crypto. Evander is starting for the U.S. men's national team of the World Cup next year.
What is the FIFA crypto? FIFA
coin. If it doesn't exist, we're minting it too. I'm all about finding a grift this summer.
Yeah, FIFA token literally exists. It's called FIFA coin. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think
is it affiliated with Gianni Infantino?
It sure is. FIFA token surges 142,000% after Trump says, quote, it could be quite a coin.
Are you serious?
This was at the White House Crypto Summit, discussing when the FIFA World Cup trophy made a surprise appearance, and Donald
Holy
Trump.
crap! So the live FIFA price today is 0.00. Sorry, I gotta use my finger to count these zeros. 0.000005 US dollars. So what would be like 142% growth in that?
It went up to a dime for a second.
that would be exponential growth if it was a dime.
We should only accept Patreon money in FIFA coin. Like you must give us $2 worth of FIFA coin in order to have your question read on the air.
I can't believe this is a real thing. Of course
FIFA,
it is. But.
Yeah, in May 2025, FIFA announced the launch of a dedicated Layer 1 blockchain utilizing Avalanche's subnet technology. You know, those classic words that I know what they mean.
None of those words were in the Bible.
Right. No, it's like a little ranch dressing with your word salad, sir.
So we buy a fistful of FIFA coins, a $5 million citizenship bypass card, and Evander's there. Honestly,
not only is Evander there, I think we're hosting World Cup games in Cincinnati.
That's a good point.
We got a new lease with the county. We can do this, man. Come on, let's roll.
Okay, this makes more sense now. Okay, so let me just read you this bit because I think it's gonna be more clear.
Okay.
While Algorand offered energy efficient, low cost transactions, the ecosystem remained relatively isolated. FIFA's own blockchain gives it full sovereignty over the protocol layer, enabling it to decide how assets are issued, how games integrate, and how users interact with products without being dependent on third-party roadmap decisions.
Oh,
so,
thank God.
It answers itself.
It's the roadmap decisions that always get you in the end.
Right. So how many bored apes do I need to trade?
You don't understand. Okay. You do 3 drops of Slurm juice on 1 ape. Okay.
It's really quite simple.
I firmly believe.
Has anybody checked in on Brandon's NFTs? How are they doing?
I think I don't want to disparage anybody, and I don't want to wrongly assign the credit. I want to say Abby looked into this. I could have that wrong, but I think there was some fishiness going on. I think those assets were being traded back and forth between the same people to keep their values up.
Yeah. How do you think Austin FC afforded that big ass contract that we found out about in the salary dump?
It's a great point. They probably just bought out his crypto. That's part of the terms of the contract.
Sorry, I just found a tweet. I was trying to Google what was going on with Brandon Vasquez's NFTs. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news.
Uh-oh.
But I found a tweet from 2022 from Brandon where he says, "Sorry to all my soccer followers on here. Cry laughing emoji. When talking to my NFT friends," and by friends, I mean he spelled it FRENS.
Nice.
Here on Twitter, the dialect changes and is incomprehensible. A diagonal cry laughing emoji and then an actual crying emoji.
Oh no.
So
a friend. Wow.
Yeah. So,
wow.
Friend.
Damn.
Friends, neighbors, countrymen, fellow grifters.
Lend me your apes.
Wouldn't it be like friend, FRENS, like Nate Burrs, N8BRS. And then I'm not going to I'm not going to use the internet spelling of the third word, and we're going to move on.
It's okay. The British use it all the time.
Oh my God. I mean, if the gold card, well, I had to think about what I was thinking about. If the gold card becomes a thing, MLS should buy one for every DP that hasn't appeared for a national team. Feels like it should be a requirement.
Well, I mean, with the prices they're charging to get into some of these Gold Cup games, U.S. soccer can afford it.
My God. $200 for nosebleed tickets for this team in this tournament. What are they doing? What are we trying to do here?
If U.S. soccer promised, if we sell out SoFi Stadium, we will purchase a gold card for Evander or insert player here who has never appeared for their national team in some great country, that like, hey, all you people have to do is fill this up. Like, finally make MLS Moves or USMNT Stan or all these other stupid Twitter accounts put their money where their mouth is, fly out there and buy a ticket.
Yeah. Like, then there would be a purpose and we'd have a goal, and it'd be sort of like crowd fundraising, crowdsourcing the team recruitment. That's fine and that's good. But like, they don't want full stadiums. They've explicitly said that in presentations before. They don't want full stadiums because that means you didn't charge enough for tickets. Like, they have a dollar amount that they want, and then they will just charge that to the 8,000 people that'll actually show up, and they'll get their dollar amount. It seems so ass backwards for what should be, and I think legally is, a non-profit, but then like an organization whose goal is to grow and shepherd the growth of the game. Do they forget that they're not
bank account? The bank account is what's growing here. You got to read the fine print here.
That's a great point.
You know what? We're laughing now when those gold cards are like coming out, like they're making it rain in the club. This is going to be, we're all going to feel really stupid about our takes. They were charging too much money for tickets.
Man. All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
As long as
Evander, clear your calendar for summer 2026. You got a job to do. Or 2020, 26.
Yeah, one of them.
Yeah, whenever.
He's 27. He can play in the next one too.
Yeah. Like at that price, the gold card's a bargain. You're $2.5 million per World Cup.
Plus, who knows how many gold cups you could win in there?
Right.
I think they'll host 4 or 5 in the meantime. All right, let's talk about this game. FC Cincinnati goes on the road and beats Orlando, something that they have done, I think, the last 3 years. Weirdly, between these two teams, the home team never wins. The home team always seems to lose. It's a weird setup. But man, did it feel good to have FC Cincinnati close out a strong June, only playing 3 games in that month, all on the road, though. I don't know, Chief, where are the vibes right now around this team?
What is it? Like, there's an old saying that there are years or months where years happen, whatever it is.
Yes. Weeks where years happen and years where nothing happens. Something like that.
Yeah. So like, and I think about that in relation to this FC team, where we had a week where they played 3 games and they took 1 point out of those 3 games.
Yeah.
And here we have a month where they play 3 games and they take all 9 points, complete a perfect month. So I think this was a really important match for them to win because it was 3 straight road games. If you finish 2-1 during that stretch, or 2 wins and a draw, you're not unhappy with that. You're like, you know what? That's great. Winning on the road is tough. We took 6 of a possible 9 points. We're winning the majority of our road games. That's great. You win all 3, and that's kind of like, okay, you went and you did a thing.
Yeah.
And I think that the way they won this game and who they won it against, I think you have to consider this a vibes high thing. Orlando is a tough team. Like, they're a very, very tough team to beat. I think that they were riding another unbeaten streak, or they'd won some ungodly percentage of their last 10 games.
Yeah.
They're very annoying to play. They're cut out of that same kind of cloth as Red Bull in terms of the matches are always chippy, physical. And if on the broadcast they mentioned, Pat Noonan even said that this Orlando team is better than most at, I think he used the phrase, the dark arts.
Yeah.
And so when you can go down to Orlando and kind of take it to them a little bit, I don't know that there's any way to walk away from this match other than positive overall. That's not to say it was perfect, but they went down, they got the job done, and all momentum with the FC now at this point, I think.
Yeah. Grayson, I want you to sort of respond to a point that Pat Noonan made in the post-game press conference, because yes, this June, and I am starting bigger picture before we zoom in a little more on the game. June was great. They won it all in June. But then in last time we saw them, it was pretty rough. And so Pat Noonan said this. I'm going to read the provided quote here, saying, quote, "You said it. We had one bad week of an entire season so far as seeing games out or not getting results and performances as well. So this is the same group that just won 3 games that had a good stretch at the beginning of the season of closing out games. And we're the week, the week where we're not at our best and we don't see out the games the right way is the week that you're mentioning. So if we can be talking about one week over the course of a season up to this point where we're at is a little where there's a little bit more disappointment, then we're in a good place." How do we view that as just like a 1 week blip on what was otherwise a really good season so far?
It can't be a 1 week blip because they had a very rough 3 weeks in March. If you look at the March results for FC Cincinnati, you start with I think they start with a tie against the Motagua.
Yeah, you could go basically February 26th to March 22nd.
Yeah. So you have a tie against Motagua, which they didn't need a result there. Who cares?
Yeah, it was a rotated squad for sure.
Then you have a 4-1 loss against Philadelphia.
And that result is currently the difference between first and second on the table.
Yep. In a 4-1 loss where they looked uninterested, uncompetitive, incompetent. It was as bad as you could have possibly looked.
Uninterested is the best way to look at that. Incompetent, I think, is another valid way to have viewed that match.
There was a draw at home against Tigres that they gave away.
Yeah.
The goal they gave up against in Tigres game was bad. They should have gotten more from that game. They beat Toronto 2-0 at home.
Great.
I think the first goal was a Denke penalty and it happened kind of late.
That feels right. It was a penalty. Yes, 73rd minute. Yep.
So then you go to the next match was the Tigres game where they collapsed. They folded.
They look good in the first half. They look horrific in the second half.
They got run off the field in the second half.
Yeah, you have to play the whole game. is the problem.
I fell asleep at halftime, so that game, I can only remember it a very different way.
and then you have a again uncompetitive loss to Charlotte.
That was rough.
And a home draw against Atlanta United, where Atlanta United is sitting outside of the playoff picture still, I believe.
Yeah, they're not good.
And they've gotten a quarter of their points against us.
And that is insane. But if I remember correctly, too, in that game, Atlanta was missing 4 or 5 starters and like had to rotate a bunch of guys.
Yeah, we fell asleep on a throw in and got an own goal. Is what happened in that game.
Yeah.
But like that's not a impressive run of results. And, I guess like you can say it's there was fixture congestion there. It was early in the season. But you have like other games, like the game they played against New York City FC was not a good game.
Yeah.
The game they played against Columbus. It's like not a very good game.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
I know they got a point out of it, but like,
see, that's the funny thing about that one is like, it's a good result in the abstract, a draw on the road in Columbus. Yeah. Good. Well done.
Yeah. As long as you don't watch the second half where they were under siege. And I don't think they had the ball more than 5 minutes the entire second.
Yeah, I'd even say similarly the draw against Tigres at home in the abstract. Yes, absolutely. You want more. This is a team that aspires to more. But in general, a draw against Tigres, good result. Everything else around it and the context of that game and everything makes that a much worse result.
Like was the 4-1 loss to Philly not a bad week?
Right.
This is not the only bad, and I don't want to be super negative because this was a great, I think a great result to go to Orlando to really stand up to them. I think in a lot of ways, and come away with the result. But I think that it's a little silly to pretend that the week they had before the break was the only bad week of the season. And even this game, like Orlando had like 5 at times our XG.
Yeah, but like most of that was due to one horrendous miss that arguably should have ended this game in a draw at the end of an absurd amount of stoppage time, where it was a point blank Chris Wondolowski-esque miss that accounted for, I think, half of their XG in
literally
this game.
That one shot in the 99th minute, using FOTMob stats here, 0.94 XG. That's a goal.
if you take that away,
right? No, it's still
they
not
still
great.
nearly tripled us.
Yeah, but like this is where
on XG.
But like that's still where XG is bullshit. And the reason why it's an interesting stat, and it's useful in the abstract, but it doesn't take into account game state. Number one, Evander's free kick that scores the first goal of this game, I think they have that as an XG of like 0.04.
Yes.
And it changes the entire complexion of the game. And I'm sorry, I don't care. Like, if you tell me that, they doubled us up in XG, all that tells me when you win the game is like, yeah, we've got some special players on this team that don't need high XG opportunities to score goals. Like, that's fine with me.
That's true.
I don't worry about that. I also don't worry about, like, you look at the possession numbers. It's like, yeah, when you go up 2 goals on the road and then you say, okay, we're going to defend the last 10 minutes of this game. They throw another 10 minutes of time on top of that. Yeah, they're going to start to dominate the possession stats as they throw the kitchen sink at you. I'm not worried about that.
They had 55% possession in the first half.
Yeah, just
our goal came late.
Yeah, or you're on the road against a team that doesn't get beaten a whole lot. This is an Orlando team that grinds results out. You played a midweek game. I don't, to a certain extent, I'm more concerned about with this team, and it goes into the bigger picture. I'm more concerned, like, what do the stars look like? How's Evander playing? How's Kei playing? Like, how's the defense looking when it comes to stopping good opportunities and blocking shots and defending the set pieces that had been a problem? Like,
yeah, I don't disagree with any of that, really.
And then, like, the other thing too, like, with Pat Noonan's comments about, like, bad week, good week, like, I think, like, where I'm at with this team right now is, if you look at the season on balance, and you can break this season down sort of into a couple of discrete areas. But I think, like, before the season started, where we all were was, we expect this team to be a work in progress. It's going to take a while for them to get everything figured out. They brought a lot of new players in, a lot of new pieces in. They got to get that integrated. Let's see what they look like when they hit the League's Cup break and the summer window. And then what happened, I think, is that we saw Evander and Kei looked immediately like superstars, like immediately, like right in that first Motagua game. Evander comes in after like 2 practices and looks like a world-class player, like straight out. Kei looks like him almost immediately. And then our expectations sort of get reset, where it's like, oh, we expect that this team has just reloaded. Like, they're going to be great immediately now. And then it took a while. And these games that you're talking about, I don't think those were bad weeks. It was just, this team isn't where it needs to be yet. I don't think this team was where it wanted to be until like that week that we got the shit beat out of us. And that's why that was so disappointing, was like, okay, by this point in the season, this team should be looking better. These players should be better integrated. We've seen the quality of everyone involved. It shouldn't still be looking like this at this point. So that's a bad week when you're like that. But, since they've come back out of that this last month in June, we've seen Evander start to be more involved in all points of this team. He's getting more touches. He's getting more looks. He's more active. He's not being as passive with the ball. I don't think I've seen him get picked from behind once during this 3-game stretch on the road, which was just an infuriating thing to watch. We've seen sort of Kei come fully into bloom as well, with how he wants to play and how he wants to get all over the field to get on the ball. So I buy that there's really only been one bad week of this team. The rest of it was all them figuring things out and getting to the point where you could say this team had a bad week. And now, like this game right here, 2 goals from Evander and assist from Kei. And that's the formula. Your superstars doing superstar shit.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a roller coaster to get here. And we've certainly made jokes about it. People have made jokes about this, about the team gelling. Does the team look gelled and all that? And yeah, I'd say like this stretch, especially these 2 games, this team does finally look like it is gelled. Maybe they needed that, mid-season, off-season to reassess, reset, and figure out what the best 11 is and where they can rotate people in and make things make sense a little bit more. And we've come to find out that this team is desperate for Kei Kamara up top. whether we expected that before the season or not, and whether that is necessarily Kei, post the summer window or not. But that does appear to be the case. And the back line has looked a lot better with Angle out there, and then Teenage stepping in and look good.
Miazga getting healthy too. Let's be real here.
Miazga getting healthy and looking like himself. Yeah.
Getting healthy makes a huge difference in what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like completely night and day with this. And, the last 2 matches too, I think it shouldn't go unnoticed that they've done some things that they haven't done before this season to varying qualities of competition. The Montreal game, they went and they stepped on the foot of a team or the throat of a team that they had down. Yeah. Like they scored 3 goals. We've been screaming for that all year. This Orlando game on Saturday, this is the first time this year that I've seen them look effective in transition and dangerous in transition. They score the 2nd goal of this game in a transition moment where Kei breaks out and finds Evander, who makes a great move, scores the 2nd goal of this game. And that's been a problem for this team the entire year, is that they would get pinned in as they were defending, and they couldn't find that outlet to look dangerous, to at least make teams respect the fact that, hey, if you commit numbers forward, we're going to get you. That hadn't happened. And this was the first time this year where you've seen that. And that's like another function, I think, of a team coming together, is knowing how to run and knowing how to push those opportunities and find one another, make the right pass, make the right move to create opportunities in transition. That was great to see.
Yeah. I was saying too, another thing that really stood out to me is how chippy this game got. And our guys absolutely were willing to get into it, Miazga in particular, but they were able to regain their composure and see out the rest of the game, particularly in the second half, cool, calm, and collected. That was really great to see. I was dying that Teenage is the hold me back guy for Miazga. That happened multiple times. I love that he has sort of taken on that leadership role for the leader in Miazga's. Everybody needs their guy, the get back guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot to take away from this team, from this game. Chief, should we run through the lineup here real quick?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, so the team coming off the midweek match in Montreal against Montreal, they rotated Montreal. They rotated a little bit here. Roman Celentano in goal, of course. Lucas Engel moved out wide as your left wing back. DeAndre Yedlin, the right wing back. It was Teenage Hidabi, Gilberto Flores, and Matt Miazga along the back line. Brian Anunga steps in for Obi, who was injured in Montreal, alongside Pavel Buka, with Evander somewhere ahead of them. Denke up top next to Dado Valenzuela. There were quite a few players out injured for the FC. Orishano picked up a knock, ended up being out and unavailable in this one. Hagelin still out, obviously. I mentioned Wobodo, but Kubo and Santos both having injuries that kept them out of the 18 in this one. But I don't know. Grayson, when you saw the lineup, did it align with what you thought we would see? Any surprises for you?
I think it's tough to say there's any surprises given the absences that were in the team.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, you talk about maybe Dado or Kai, but
Kai's
otherwise
40.
otherwise it's first choice of who was available, right?
Yeah. I
guess
can't imagine who you would. Yeah, who
potentially you could have had Engel instead of Hidabi and Powell somewhere as a wingback on the left or right side.
This feels more first choice than I think any other permutation. So I think the only surprise is just it feels like, and this is nobody's fault, it just feels like there's so many times where it's like, okay, this guy's back, right?
Right.
And he's like briefly back, and then it's like, oh no, he picked up a knock. Like Santos, I believe, was like out for a bit, then was back in training, picked up a knock, and was out again.
Yeah.
And I think like even between like games a week apart, he like was back and gone again.
Kubo came back after like 2 months.
Yeah, Kubo played on Wednesday. Yeah,
played well.
Looked good. I was like, it honestly was probably his best performance in 2025. I remember him struggling early on and then getting injured. And he showed back up. I was like, great. Like, man, if this team can finally get like a backup striker who looks scary, like we might go somewhere. Or, we need our Swiss Army knife in the midfield. No, he's gone.
Yeah. I wonder how much of that, though, is that he really was hurt and just that, like, there was no way he was playing anyway on a back-to-back. So I don't know.
I thought about that, too. I mean, look.
They play fast and loose with this a little. With the injury stuff on this team, they play really fast and really loose with it.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know. Like, they've had some bad luck this year. And even this game, it's like, we felt like they were super deep at center back.
Yeah.
And then now you have Hagelin got, targeted. Miles is out with the national team. And Hidabi comes off the game and can't apparently put weight on his foot.
Yeah.
And now we're down to Flores and Miazga and pray for rain, right? Like,
right.
But It's
Flores Miazga. And hey, how's FC Cincinnati 2 doing these days?
and I don't know, like that with the Hadebe, and we're jumping ahead, but like the word from Noonan about the Hadebe injury, where again, like he couldn't put weight on his foot and got like carried off,
Right.
not on a stretcher, but like got carried off by
2 training staff.
Yeah, by 2 trainers. Noonan said he was cramping and may have rolled his ankle.
May have rolled his ankle.
Yeah. Is Hadebe like a LeBron, where like he over exaggerates every injury to make himself look more heroic? Like, was
I hope
this
so.
like if he knew he was coming off anyway, it's like, I'm gonna put no weight on this. It looks even cooler when I come back next week.
Or it's Noonan putting on a brave face, knowing that Hadebe suffered a laceration, and
Right.
it might be
I
the
need
end
that
of his
to
career.
I need that to enter FC Cincinnati lore. That like when you don't know how bad it is, you just say laceration, and that's code to the fans for he could be back next week or he could be dead. You're just gonna have to wait and find out.
You're never gonna see him again.
He's playing for a team up north now.
They took him to a family at a farm where he's going to be able to run and just have fun.
He's having a great career in the Canadian Premier League. Don't look it up.
The Kevin, we got to talk about your guy. Talk about your boy Dado here.
I feel like
funny?
Pat Noonan doesn't want me to talk about this.
That's why we're going to talk about it. We're the podcast that dares to talk. If nothing else, we dare to talk. Did you watch the match with the sound on Apple TV?
You
broadcast partners
betcha.
for the Major League Soccer.
You betcha.
All right. They were glazing Dado very hard in the first half of this match.
As far as I can tell, every single person who has spoken about Dado's abilities seems to believe he is the second coming, with the exception of anybody hired by FC Cincinnati.
Like what they were saying about him was, and everything he did was like, oh, the skill is just apparent with this. You can see the skill. And then you get to Pat Noonan's comments after the match, and it's like, just the physicality isn't there. He just not what we need in terms of, when the game gets physical. He struggles with that.
I have the quote.
We don't build the 11 based on who draws fouls. I'm gonna get it. I need to practice it.
We gotta work on her.
He's got a little bit of like a back of his throat thing going on. We're gonna get it.
Yeah. Overemphasizes certain words too, like where like you can tell he's hit. It's like hitting a heavy bag where you breathe a little bit. He's got a couple words like that he punches.
He's got like Muppet undertones, right?
No.
Like he has like a deep manly voice, but he's got Muppet undertones.
A little bit of the Patrick Mahomes voice.
No, not that. Not like
no,
not
Patrick
that,
Mahomes has like a
that's
Kei
Kermit the Frog,
Powers thing going
or
on.
like a Kermit the Frog thing.
That's
like,
where I went.
Noonan very much when he's in a press conference feels like he is playing Pat Noonan at a press conference sometimes.
I like that. Well, I have the quote here. I have to say, this comes from or thanks to the post-Cincy's own Damon Gumber, who was on the press conference, was able to ask the question, essentially comparing Dado's ability to draw fouls versus Kei Kamara's physicality as a hold-up striker. Pat Noonan says, Dado does a great job of using his body to draw fouls, but there's the other side of it. Where can he be better about avoiding tackles? Because you find separation to be able to receive the ball without pressure, to be able to connect the next pass. Dado, in the last moment, I think, has a good feel for knowing how to take a touch and draw fouls, but we're not making selections with our starting 11 because guys know how to draw fouls. Dado did a good job, and then Kei comes in, and then there's the other side of the hold-up play and the physical presence where it's more challenging for the opponent because of what Kei provides. And that's why we made that decision. And I think Kei did well in his 40 minutes with the added time there.
There has never been a more like direct indictment of the Red Bull soccer theory.
Yes.
Like that's Pat Noonan saying, get up, you pansy. Maybe a different P word there, but like, get up.
It is very funny that it's that. It is funny to think that the decision to sub out Dado for Kai was a tactical decision. I think a lot of people would have assumed it was more rotation or something like that, but this was a genuine tactical decision. I thought Dado played well. I understand.
I thought Kai was better.
And that's fair too. I think that's fair too.
Like I'm not trying to, criticize Dado here, but
no, you're sucking up to the teacher. I get it.
Kai was really good.
Yeah.
Kai should have had a goal. And, I don't think he did all that poorly with it either.
Yeah.
I think his touch wasn't the cleanest, but he held up the ball well. He was heavily involved with the second goal, and he could have easily had another one.
Yeah. This is not me jumping off the Dado bandwagon.
Whoa.
I'm still a Dado enthusiast. What I want someone that's smarter than me to tell me what the best deployment of Dado would be, because I don't believe it's striker. I think the problem with Dado is I think Dado's best deployment would have him in the way and in the same space as Evander occupies. But I watched this match again with an eye towards what Noonan was talking about. Like, how does Dado deal with physicality? And watching it through that lens, he gets pushed around a lot in these games. Like, you watch Evander. Evander has the ability, and it was comical how Orlando was defending Evander in this game. Like,
yes,
every time he touched the ball, like 2 or 3 players would rally to Evander basically just to stop him from moving forward any further. And he still gets through those situations. Like, he physically can fight his way through 1 and 2 and sometimes even 3 defenders.
Yeah.
Kei is the same way. Kei has the ability to fight through a couple of defenders. Dado, he can sometimes get around people, but the minute there is any sort of physical play involved, he's either being shoved off the ball or he goes to ground. And I think Pat Noonan looks at that the same way a high school bully does seeing a victim. That this kid should be shoved in a locker. He needs to get into the weight room right now. Like, get your weight up, son.
I don't even disagree with the assessment. Again, looking at it slightly big picture, let's say Kai balls the hell out this year and does so well for us and we win a trophy. That's incredible and that's great.
No, that's everything. Shut up. No, full stop. That's everything.
If that's everything, then so be it. I'm just saying Dado is 20 years old, and he is not so much worse than Kai that you cannot put him out on the field. I think long-term for this club, we would do well to cultivate that talent than rely on the journeyman who is 40 years old to give us just a little bit more. I think if you have intentions of being the FC Cincinnati coach for more than 3 years, between the two of them, I would play Dado until it is untenable.
I disagree. I think you play the better player. I think right now Kei Kamara is the better player, especially for where there is available minutes. The available minutes, as far as I can tell, are for the second striker. And I just don't know that that's the best deployment of Dado. They're getting Dado minutes. He got 60 minutes in this game as a 20-year-old,
right?
Acquitted himself well. So it's not like it's a Stefan Chirilla or Steven Jimenez situation where this guy just never sees the field.
Right.
I just think that for what they both bring and what this team seems to need, Kei Kamara looks really good. And he is one of the only players in the field where walks on and immediately knows what his role is. Like, no question what he's there to do, and he goes out and he does it.
So I think that Pat Noonan's job security has Not exactly, but approaching, and approximately zero to do with how much he plays Dado.
Right.
Like I would love to see more. I'd love to see Dado improve. I'd love to see more goals. I'd love to see everything. I don't think that the most important thing in the world, and certainly not the most important thing to like whether Pat Noonan's job is in danger or not, is like how much he plays Dado.
No, I don't mean that. No, I just mean like 2 years from now, are you going to be in a better position as the FC Cincinnati manager, knowing that you had a really good season 2 years ago with Kei Kamara, or that you help cultivate a DP level player who you're getting for, you know, homegrown $0 against the budget salary player? Like, that's where I'm at. Like anywhere else in the world, a 20-year-old showing that much talent would play until his legs fall off. But here it's, well, Kai's a little better, so we're going to play Kai instead. At that point, what's the argument? And I made this point before, and granted, I made it with Sharilla, which was silly, but I won't back down from it. What's the point of the academy? Like, literally, none of these guys will ever be better than the starters.
If you think that that's the case, doesn't that isn't that inconsistent with what the perception broadly is of MLS, that there's no pressure to get results?
It's a good point.
Because if the pressure, like it is around the world, is to get the results, you play the better player. Period. If there's no pressure to get results, then you're like, well, let's develop a guy who's worse right now because we can maybe sell him down the road.
Yeah.
You know? And for me, I want the coach making choices based on results, not based on development. Let the developing players, I mean, you find opportunities to use them, right?
Absolutely. But, and he gets used plenty, I will fully admit.
Let the youngsters earn their spots in the coach's eyes. I want the coach making the decisions about, like, how are we going to win right now? Like, what's the choice that gives us the best chance to win this game right now? And, you know, I think I think you can raise questions about whether the team's third leading scorer and leader in goals per 90 should get on the field more.
Right.
But I guess I just don't care about making starting decisions primarily based on, you know, development versus what's our best shot of winning this game.
For sure.
I just want us to be a money-making operation to line people's pockets. I don't care about trophies. I want to win the budget sheet. I don't want to win the table sheet.
Look, here's my counter argument. 2018-2019 season in Denmark. A 20-year-old Evander played 1,700 minutes, 26 matches, where his team would go on to finish second.
Cool.
He was 20 years old. He had never played more than 400 minutes in the season before that.
Kevin, here's your problem, though. Your problem at the end of the day is he's not a striker. Like, if you want to play Dado in the place where he is the most effective, you're going to have to take Evander off the field, because Evander and him play the same position. Like, that's where it's at right now. And unless legitimately, unless Dado hits the weight room and bulks up a little bit to play striker, like, he is miscast in that role. And he's especially miscast in that role in this offense that demands strikers play physical, engage and hold up, play off the ball, and do things that just Dado is incapable of doing. I think he's an all-world talent. I just think where he is the all-world talent, we've got a superstar.
So, just to continue the line of argument, because this is the Dado Valenzuela podcast.
Clearly.
We have, between him, Dado, Orishano, Kubo, Baird, a lot of wingers on this team. And we are determined to play a 2-striker setup that requires the services of a 40-year-old who wasn't on this team until what, March, April? Why are we forcing all of these square pegs and round holes? At what point do you look at your pile of wingers and go, maybe there's a world where Valenzuela's out wide on the right and Orishana's out wide on the left and Evander's behind, and we've got some really capable center backs on the back to do this, and we like our outside wing play. Why don't we just let them be there? I don't know.
Because this is working.
I guess if I'm in a situation where I've got if I'm an NFL team and I've got, 3 incredible linebackers, I'm not rolling out a formation that only lets me play one of them or 2 of them. I'm going to get all my guys on the field.
Yeah. Maybe when we're not second in the supporter shield race by 1 point, maybe that's the time to try it.
Yeah, and maybe that is the argument, is that ultimately this team, and maybe this is the clearest sign that this team is genuinely trying for the supporter shield. Because to Grayson's point about pressure would be, oh hell, we can take 9 matches off and still make the playoffs. Let Dado figure it out for 2 months. So yeah, I fully take the point, because I would like the shield. That would be a nice thing to win. All right, that's probably enough Dado talk. I wanted to interrogate the point in particular there.
It's come up a lot in the Discord. There's a lot of people asking about like what the situation is, because like Grayson points out, the numbers seem to indicate he should be one of the best 11. Yet the tape doesn't always support that, I don't think.
Yeah, it's just, this team is not blowing people out. They're not putting up big goal numbers. They're putting up, I guess, exactly enough goal numbers to be in second in the East by 1 point up or down. I'm an idiot. I think more goals on the field is better than fewer goals on the field. But, again, we've said this time and again, it still feels to me like the team should have done better to date than they've done, but they've done well enough to be in contention for nearly everything that we thought they should be in contention for. And we'll find out, it's about to be July. Nothing's decided in July. And we'll find out down the road how all these decisions worked out.
Yeah.
Give Dado the League's Cup. Make that his opportunity to take whatever job it is and run with it.
I don't hate it.
Dado and Chirilla up top in the League's Cup. like make it like the MLB Future Stars game.
What would be so funny, and this is just the dumbest possible thing, we win League's Cup with that setup, and then we get a real goddamn conundrum coming out of League's Cup.
Love it. Come on. That's good. That's good content, right? That's just good, clean content is all that is.
It's like, I just try to imagine a situation where like the NFL has like a weird mini in-season tournament and where the backup quarterback gets to start a couple of games and turns out that dude is chucking the ball. Actually, there's a perfect example of this. The 2009 UC Bearcats football team, where Tony Pike was putting up Heisman numbers. He was on a lot of short lists for the Heisman watch. Gets hurt, misses 4 games. Zach Caleros steps right in, lights it up just as well as Tony did, and all of a sudden there was a question mark when Tony got healthy. What do you do when this guy gets back? They gave the job to Tony back, all right? And it all worked out fine. But
that UConn game that Caleros played is still one of the most dominant performances I've ever seen by a college athlete.
It was insane. And that game finished like 54-49 or something.
Caleros is still playing in the CFL for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He's like one of the best players in CFL history.
I was going to say, outside of Warren Moon, I think he's got a legit argument for best quarterback in CFL history. Somebody else in this game that I want to talk about and sing their praises of, because I think that they got a fair amount of criticism.
He's played 2 games so far this year.
Yeah.
He's 43 of 55 for 513 yards and 5 touchdowns.
How old is he now? Like 37?
He is 36 years old.
Okay. So hell, he could do this for 5 more years.
Yeah, he'll turn 37 this August. The pride of Steubenville, Ohio.
Of course. Always killed me. He's actually like a big Pittsburgh sports guy. It didn't really translate to Cincinnati. Brian Anunga, though, for this team had a hell of a performance, has looked good the last couple of times out. I think he is somebody that he certainly got criticism from the fan base on how he did not participate in the offensive side of the sport of soccer. And I think he's turned that around the last couple of games. He has certainly looked a lot better going forward, passing forward, even taking a couple of guys on here and there. I was very impressed with him in this game, and I've been impressed with him for a little bit. I don't know. How do we view the progress of Brian Anunga?
He's what we thought he was. I mean, I think that he's a good use of a supplemental roster spot. I think that he has benefited a little bit from the fact that the team has made an adjustment where it wants to play. It's been telling Obi to play further up the field a little bit and to get into more advanced positions. And so I think that same positioning adjustment has also applied to Anunga. You know, he's, for a reserve, he's giving very competent minutes out there.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anybody else that can do what he's doing quite literally, because I don't think there's anyone else on the roster in the midfield that can take over that defensive mid job with Kubo hurt. He's fine. I think that his passing still leaves a lot to be desired, but for a guy on a supplemental roster spot, it's hard to quibble with.
Yeah. 80% passing, 41 of 51. Not ideal from the defensive midfield position, but you see where he's coming from here. Winning a lot of his duels. You love that. I don't know. I thought he was somebody that would be key to this season being successful, and I think that has kind of borne out. I mean, he's certainly not like jumped out and taken a starting spot, but it's not as deep of a drop off from Buka and Obi as it was last year, for example.
Right. I mean, we have a defender to play in the midfield.
Yeah.
And, we've picked up a lot of points in games where he played. So,
yeah.
And I think you're right. I think you're right. And the prediction was right.
He has operated when he hasn't had to sort of step in on these rotation moments. He has certainly operated like a closer in baseball. He gets to come in and just see out a game and truck guys over and just make sure nothing gets too crazy. And then moving to the back line, Hedebi, I thought, performed well in this game. Flores and Miazga, though, both going the full 90 in these midweek games over. I think both of these are impressive for 2 very different reasons. One, Chief, to your point earlier, Miazga's back. I think it's fair to say. And for Flores, this is tough. I mean, a younger guy, 22 years old, coming into this league for the first time, playing from, going from Canada to the humid heat of Orlando is tough. Orlando's a very good attacking team. They've got a lot of attacking talent on their team. Very impressive from both of those guys.
Yeah, Miazga had a tackle in the game where I was just like, oh, he's back.
Yeah. We got him. There's our guy.
It's like, I knew he was around there somewhere. Kevin, you were calling him slow last week. Are you changing your tune now?
No, he's still slow, but he's got everything else back, and that's probably good enough.
That's the real important part right here. Yeah, the most important part, I think, for what Miazga and the back line did was Martin Ojeda just a phenomenal player for Orlando City. Like he's a guy where I think if the talent was better around him, he would be a dude that would be a perennial MVP contender.
Yeah.
They just don't have a lot of high powered options to help him. And they mostly kept him in check. I think he ended the game with the assist at the end of the only goal that Orlando scores. But the backline keeping Ojeda locked down. And I know that Yedlin did a really good job on him because they wanted to attack out wide to Yedlin's side of the field. And between him, Flores, Miazga, and Hidabi later, I think Powell comes in at a certain point. They really did a good job shutting down the one guy on Orlando that can really, really hurt you.
Yeah. Yeah. It was incredible shutdown defense from those guys. And it wasn't until very late, again, when like they're truly pressing for everything, that it really showed cracks. I mean, I was impressed with the defense all night. So let's talk about the goals. And the first goal is Ferreira's. Is Evander's. It's so funny.
Mob for too long.
I know. I literally had it up in front of me because I was trying to pull the highlight up.
Jesus.
What threw me off is the Fatma has the team of the week over here, and I just noticed Ferreira has the star. And then I realized that was our guy. My brain was looking at that like as I was trying to talk about him. That was great. Evander's goal. This comes just a couple of minutes after what I am convinced was Evander breaking Gillespie's finger from a long shot earlier in the match. Dude, it was dangling. Like it was not good. You could see it sort of like not fully attached in the glove, and then he popped it back in. He's up and running. But Evander, how far out is he? Like 45
like
yards?
40 yards, yeah.
It's a little ways out.
It's a nice shot. I mean, it knuckles in a exciting way.
An exciting knuckle, if you will.
Yeah.
And it surprised him too, which is never a great combination. It was great because clearly everybody on Orlando thought that this was going to be a lofted ball into the mixer, see if they couldn't get their head on it. And apparently Evander whispered over to Angle if he saw the space too, and Angle said he did, and so he took the shot. And I love, it's his like my favorite thing is that he catches the ball but in the goal, which is great. So the highlight always looks so good on this.
Also, let's be real here.
Yeah,
he did not ask Lucas Angle if he saw the space. There's no chance that happened. You know what he said to Lucas Angle was like, $100 says I can put this in right here. Like cash changed hands in the locker room as a result of that shot going in right there.
Yeah, Angle's going, there's no way you're getting this. That is absurd. It's awesome. I mean, we talked a little bit about it with the XG, but like to have a player on this team that can turn like innocuous fouls in the midfield into dangerous moments is such a superpower. It
is absurd that you can score a goal from this point on the field. And I get that it's clever the way they do it up, where Angle comes up like he's going to put that ball into play. And I think it tricks the entire Orlando defense into thinking that's going to happen because of Angle's run up right there.
Yeah.
But even still, to put that on frame with pace and with enough power, I don't know how the man does it. I have no clue. And for how bad some of the set piece delivery has been on this team over the last 3-4 years, to have someone who can step over a kick and immediately be dangerous in that spot, I don't know. You can't even defend it. I don't even know what you do.
Yeah. I love after the game, Pat Noonan even spoke about about Evander and basically said everything he does is all him. I'm just lucky enough to be able to coach him, but there's nothing I'm adding to his game.
There's nothing I can teach him to do. I can't teach him to do that.
Yeah.
It's not because of me. That's just the man has an incredible ability. I have nothing to do with that.
It's so great. It's a shame Pat's not a little more cocky, because I would be boasting like, I made Evander, I made Lucho. Like, come to me and I will turn you into a special player in this league.
You know, the other thing that's fun about that too is that the fact that he scores that buys him another 24 insane, like, why are you shooting that? Like, and I can't be mad because he has now demonstrated an ability to make that shot.
Well, not just scoring that goal, but I also think like genuinely hurting one of the best goalkeepers in this league from a shot that was from a similar distance, by the way, but during the run of play, to dislocate his finger is also like, yeah, man, you can keep doing these. That's fine. You've got our permission.
You go ahead and you do it. It's all right.
And then the second goal comes from a very different set of circumstances. I think I tweeted from the post account: step 1, bend; step 2, don't break; step 3, break them. That is how I viewed that goal. That was a lot of defending, a lot of desperate defending too, that late in the game. And all of a sudden, this team has a dangerous counterattack with it. I mean, I don't know, Grayson, if this team is able to counter with this I don't know, this lethality, where do we go from here? Is this the best team of all time?
Probably not.
Okay, fair.
But I do want to, like, I want to see more on the counter.
Yes.
Like you do want to see more in build up, and it feels like they had a lot of like long stretches of possession that didn't really like amount to all that much, which is a thing that they continue to struggle with. But one of my issues with how the team has played often throughout the year, and it shows up again a little bit at the end, if I'm being honest, but it has been how slow they've played and missed out on opportunities in transition, missed out opportunities to go on a break. And this time they very much did not.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And I thought about this play, late in the game when Corey Baird had the ball and they were trying to show, trying to see out the win. And Kevin made some nice movements with the ball, got the ball to Corey.
Yep.
And Corey had what I thought was like a clear line, if not like at goal, to the corner flag.
Yes.
Or like a ball he could have just played forward to find a teammate. And instead he just stopped.
He just stopped moving, right?
Like, and ended up losing the ball, and Orlando got a late game chance that they didn't do anything with. But like, it was like I was watching that and I was like, oh yeah, that's what Cincinnati. I know.
What's nice about this goal that is on the number one, just the simple fact it's on the counter is ridiculously refreshing. I love quick passes, quick decisions to go into the break, like one touch passing, and people are off and running. It needs to be said too, strikers are usually not known for being nice with it, with the ball at their feet in the open field. Kevin Denke is pretty nice with it, with the ball at his feet in the open field. Like that is a rare skill for a prolific striker goal scorer to have. And he controls the ball at top speed. The offload to Evander is really, really well done. Kei Kamara also joining the run so that there's a 3-man break on.
It's 3v2 with Evander, Denke, and Kei Kamara sprinting dead speed at Orlando's guys.
That's a shit your pants moment.
Yeah.
It's like, that's got to be a goal.
Well, that's the other thing. Yeah. If you're Orlando, you're scared to death. And if you're FCC, you have to score. What is the point of playing the game if you cannot score here?
That's $30 million in one of the greatest goals, plus one of the greatest goal scorers of all time.
And Evander's goal,
sick.
Lucho-esque
For multiple reasons. One, the skill, the curve, everything, like through traffic, weirdly, despite everything that we just described up to that point, but also Lucho-esque. Denke and Kei Kamara are wide open on the other side of the box. It would have been a tougher pass. It absolutely could have been cut out. It's just very funny to watch the replay that our two starting strikers, I guess, at this point are wide open on the other side.
It's nice to see that, like, if Evander gets the ball in that spot, he's got the same thing in his game where if I'm in the box and I just got to beat one defender to get a shot off, I'm scoring here.
Yes.
That if I am ever 1v1, it is 1v0 because I will always beat
beat one guy.
Yeah.
Right. Can always get one.
And it was nice that the one was Robin Janssen because, just directly, fuck that guy.
Yes.
just for any number of reasons. It's also kind of neat, too, that Denke and Evander both have this nice little trick in their playbook where they are very good in those close control situations at creating the necessary couple inches of space to get their shot off.
Yeah.
Because Evander takes a touch and creates just a window to shoot between the two defenders that were, closing in on him. That little touch to create the shot, we've seen Denke do it a couple times this year. Evander doing it. It's just a sweet, sweet little play all around.
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful. And I don't know. Is there anything else we want to talk about with this goal?
I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah.
It's good to go up. It's good they went up too, because again, they concede late. And that's the difference between you are desperately defending a 1-goal lead and the officials giving a just bullshit amount of stoppage time, not being something where you're frantically sweating through.
Yeah. A World Cup 2022-esque amount of time at the end of this one, 10 minutes. And FCC keeps the MLS clean sheet. It's a big point for them. And Chief, to your point, like, this is a team that had been in the past more than happy to defend a 1-goal lead. And I think even to it would have been justified a little bit, or at least you could more clearly see the thought process of 2 wins in a row, get the draw on the road against Orlando. Absolutely no shame in that. They're a good team. You could have absolutely seen the second half be an incredibly defensive performance, and it wasn't. And in fact, given what we know now about the reason why Kai came in for Dado, it was a tactical decision to score goals. Like, they could have subbed Dado out for a defender or a midfielder, if there are any on this roster. And, that didn't happen. So good to see a little more killer instinct from this team. And then also to execute on that instinct. So really good. Is there anything else we want to talk about with this game, or players, the results?
I thought Yedlin defended well. And I thought for the 75, 80 minutes, the whole team really defended well.
Yeah.
I think that was I think they did a nice job of limiting the kinds of opportunities Orlando was getting, at least, through that part of the game. And I liked the fight in the team. I know Pat said that, before the first half ended, there was a bit of a coming together, and Pat in his post-game conference said he talked to the guys about keeping your heads, but Orlando wanted to intimidate them, and they weren't successful at doing that. And my only other comment along those lines is they have to let Kevin Denke stand up for himself. Like, the officials have to let Kevin, stand his ground, essentially.
Yeah.
Because it's not, I know he's stronger than everybody, but it's not fair how he's officiated. No.
There was one play in particular where it stopped the FC had been defending for a while, and Denke made a great received a great ball on a hold up, and then was victimized by a complete phantom call where I think it was Janssen again claiming he'd been elbowed in the face, went down for nothing. And all of a sudden, when the team needed a spell of possession just to, get their legs back under him, he's victimized again by just nonsense officiating where there was no contact on the play whatsoever. And a complete dive was sold and bought and resulted in a free kick being awarded. It's like he's officiated. It's garbage how he is officiated.
It's frustrating to me when guys, when officials seem to, I guess I don't know what's going on in their head, but seem to make a decision that because one guy is like obviously bigger and stronger than another guy,
right?
The smaller guy gets some leeway to just foul.
Yeah, right.
And the big guy has to be careful not to like overuse his physical strength. You should be allowed to use your physical strength. And, the solution isn't let little guys foul more. The solution is, little guys can hit the gym too.
Yeah.
Right.
Can you imagine if other sports work this way? If like when Shaq was playing in the NBA.
Well, they did it to Shaq.
Well,
they let Shaq get murdered out there.
Sure, but like they also didn't call fouls on Shaq when he was backing people down in the paint and just being bigger and stronger than them.
They did let him use his body to box out.
Yeah. Or like, on the, in the NFL, if like, Jerome Bettis would have been called for penalties for running people over just for being, bigger and stronger than people back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, why is that?
Yeah.
Like, why is that the only attribute in soccer you get penalized for? Like, they don't call you back if you're running faster than someone, or they don't disallow goals if you're taller than someone. But the second you've got like an actual ability to lift a weight, you have to like be judicious in how that's used on the field.
That actually reminds me, Chief, of your newly adopted South African team, the Mamelodi Sundowns. Did I pronounce that right?
The Sundowns, Mamelodi Sundowns. Yes, okay. Sundowns FC.
They did a great little like feature with the Bengals where they got to tour the Bengals locker room and see around Paul Brown. It's a fun little feature. One, it's hilarious. The guy's reaction is like, "Wow, this is a really well supported club."
Wow. Don't Google that when you leave, man.
Yeah, right. Also, like, the financing and funding of this team is nothing compared to like a mid-tier SEC team.
Well, not only that too, it's like wow, this is so well funded and this is so well put together. I can't believe this is. How do they do this? Oh. Here's one trick that they don't want to tell you about over in the rest of the world involving your tax dollars being spent to finance billionaires' facilities.
You're never going to get this. You just get a local government to give it all to you.
Wait, the voters vote to do this? You can just tell people to do this and they will? No. You have to threaten to leave and go someplace else.
Right.
Here's what you do.
Totally normal thing.
You pay Bengal Jim $30,000.
I'm in. Whatever part B is, I'm in.
Yeah. Putting it out there to the Sundowns. If you want a new stadium that's taxpayer financed, here in Cincinnati, we know how to get that done.
Get 4 or 5 guys wearing painted Mandalorian and Stormtrooper armor. It's very important to the success here. No, but the reason why I brought this up is there's a moment where those guys go over to the free weights and try to pick up one of the weights.
Yeah,
and it's not clear that they've ever seen a dumbbell before. Very funny.
Yeah, you know, we're a fast team. We're not a strong team over with Mama Lodi.
Of course, of course. So yeah, there you go. Kevin Denke is incorrectly officiated. I think we all knew that, but it's good to say it out loud. That does put us with the Supporter Shield race. Currently, Vancouver is beating LAFC. I don't have the time on the match, but that does seem like it's going to hold. I did appreciate this over in the Eastern Conference. Of the top 8 teams, which is the top half of the table, the only teams to lose in the top 8.
Kevin,
were,
not to fact check you here. It is 1-0 in the 46th minute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's going to hold.
I thought it was a little later than that.
It could or could not hold. Who knows?
Nope. Vancouver's got it in the bag. They never give up leads. Everybody knows this.
Yeah, it's game over.
But in the top 8 in the East, the only 2 losses were to Orlando City, who played FC Cincinnati, and Philadelphia Union, the first place team and the team just ahead of us on the table. You love to see it. Okay, that's exactly how that should shake out. This does put FC Cincinnati tied for second in the Shield race, behind the Bastards in San Diego.
They can't keep it up.
We say that.
Yeah, that's not going to stay. They can't keep it up. I'm confident.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
Vancouver can still leap everybody with their game in hand.
So can Miami, I believe, right?
Jesus.
They've looked at Miami's only played 16 matches.
They'd have to win. They'd have to win all 4, but yeah.
Right. Okay. Man, I did not realize they were that far behind. Okay. Club World Cup does things to you.
Yeah. Don't use the word 4 around Miami fans this week.
Oh, good point. But yeah, good position to end the month of June, go into July with. I mean, obviously you'd prefer first place, but it's hard to be upset with where the team is positioned for the rest of the season. So there we go. That takes us over to part 2, unless there's anything else. Nope. All right, let's head on over to part 2, where we will answer a couple of listener questions. All right, we are back with part 2. It is the very end of June, which is why we are answering your questions, okay? This is where we have have received, have asked for submissions for questions from our Patreon subscribers. That is right. You can pay us money just like everybody else. We are begging you for a couple of dollars every single month. It is $2 a month. It is totally optional, totally free. Otherwise, we give you all of our content. I occasionally drop weird random things on the Patreon, but I'll be honest, you're not missing much. But that means the people that are donating, are people that are giving this money, are doing so knowing that they are supporting the show and bringing it to the rest of everybody, which we thank by answering one of their questions on air or on recording, or however we want to say this, which brings us to this question from Michael P., who asks, what is your favorite bit of non-essential or luxury tech? Piece of technology that is not essential. You don't build your life around it. It's not required for your job, or maybe it's just a little extra something, a little luxury, but you just...
So
what's
like
your favorite?
Like, how do we like luxury would be something that's just simply non-essential in life?
Yeah, I would say so. Anything that would require you to, say, work, transportation, whatever that is, get into and out to your place of business and home, and then like anything that you would need to maintain like regular communication or work. So like your laptop isn't going to count here. Your cell phone isn't going to count here. But like if you carry around like a Game Boy emulator thing in your pocket, yeah, that's a cool piece of luxury tech, or a smart ring or something like that. Do we have anything along these lines?
I'm generally of the mind that there's too much tech around me.
Yeah.
So I don't submit to the masculine urge to accumulate gadgets.
Yeah, the gadget, the call of the gadget.
I love gadgets.
I love
so
gadgets
much.
too. I
So
fight
much.
so hard.
We have too many mediators between us and reality.
Ooh.
And so I don't know. I don't do gadgets. I don't do like wearables really. I have a Garmin that I've changed the face to look like an analog clock. And occasionally I will check my steps.
Yeah.
And I way underutilize it. Like it's got like, I know for a fact it has like golf plugins and stuff.
Right.
I golfed on Saturday, did not use it.
Come on, you can have an AI chatbot tell you you're swinging it all wrong.
No, I also can read a text message on my wrist, but that's as smart as I want anything, human or not, around me to be.
When I had to go to court more often, having the ability to see a text message without getting my phone out was really, really nice. Until then, it just became socially acceptable to have your phone out at all points in society.
Right.
And then it became a little less useful. I would say either, I know it's like, it walks the line. It's definitely a luxury, but I don't know that many people view it that way anymore. Having a nice pair of Bluetooth earbuds for the gym.
I was gonna say my AirPods are
count?
pretty.
I don't know.
Okay,
That's like, it's walking the line.
I do wear wireless headphones when I run because, well, I wear wireless headphones generally, but I find them really useful on a run because I have like athletic shorts that have like a pocket that like my phone can like slide into. And it's nice not like getting your cord like tangled up.
Oh, that's the worst. Now, let me ask you this, Grayson. Do you or Chief, do you have a separate pair of headphones that are your workout headphones?
I do, because I think about like
sweat.
I look, I'm a sweaty guy.
You say, look, Grayson, you have gone to great lengths to not let people look.
Yeah.
But especially like in this weather,
yes,
like I'm a sweaty guy. So like I have this is like the pair that I wear for physical activity. So I guess that's my answer.
It's your workout headphones.
Yeah,
Yes.
I've got my AirPods that I use for when I'm at the gym. And then like on one of those, hey, Amazon, you haven't bought anything in a while, you knuckleheads. We're going to make everything 30% off or like, whatever. I bought a model of the Beats over ear headphones. And that's what I take when I go like on an airplane or something like that.
With the active noise canceling.
With the active noise cancellation. And then the other only gizmo I think that fits into this category, because I have a Nintendo Switch. I don't count that. That's just good, clean fun. I got a dongle that plugs into the headphone jack on an airplane that lets you pair Bluetooth headphones with your with the screen, so you're not stuck using a pair of shitty wired headphones that they hand you in the little plastic bag that don't have any real noise cancellation features. It's hard to hear the movie. That's a pure luxury item.
I've got an aerator for like wine bottles.
I don't know if that's.
I don't think it. I'm not sure it does anything.
I mean, from an anthropological point of view, anything is tech, Kevin.
That's great. Is it made out of more than mud?
Yeah,
but you see like the wine like kind of pool into the little like glass compartment at the end. It's just like I feel like I like am running a wine bar.
It feels like a missed opportunity for the winemakers to not build a wine bottle that has an aerator built in. Like
that would defeat the purpose. The purpose of the aerator is to feel superior to other people that don't own one.
Okay, that's a great point. A slightly longer neck with another cork is really what I'm imagining.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
My answer.
Next question. Okay.
My answer. Only because I just bought it recently, and Grayson, I feel very called out by the call of the gizmo. I bought a different brand, but it'll be easier for people to just look this up. It's called a Backbone. Essentially, this turns your cell phone into a Nintendo Switch-esque thing, where it's a controller with all the face buttons.
I get targeted ads for this all the time.
Yeah. So I bought a different brand than the Backbone, a cheaper brand, frankly. It's $100 for the Backbone. I'm not spending that much. But you pair that with the Xbox Game Pass subscription, where you get the cloud gaming. Oh, shit. Not to fall for Microsoft's advertisements, but my phone is an Xbox for all intents and purposes. So that's exciting. Okay. So
you know what I got?
Ooh.
I actually have a real answer for this.
Okay.
I've got a like a laser level.
Oh,
for
that's
hanging
pretty
art.
great. That's pretty great.
Yeah.
Some big dad tech right there. I like that.
Yeah.
It's you could do it without it, but it's dope.
Yeah, but and like, you know, I have spent so much time doing like draw the pencil line and thing. But it, like the laser level makes it so much easier to hang like a large painting.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm always like hanging shit. It's like my number one activity. The amount of time that we like spend on this podcast, I spend more time like hanging shit.
It feels like at a certain point you will run out of room on your walls.
No, because
it's time to hang new shit then.
No, because you like replace it and you got to find a new space for
fair
it.
Enough,
it's
fair
a whole, you know how it is.
I'm always hanging things.
I'm always saying this.
The next question. This is funny. This is the issue with not being timely with answering these questions, but I still think there's something to get out of this. Brandon Ramey asks, is the roster build not as good as we thought, or is the team not being deployed as intended? Are we blaming Billy Bean or how?
Seems like a crazy question to ask after we just go down to Orlando and pull a 2-1 result.
Not even a real fan here. What's going on?
There's a little marker here submitted 4 weeks ago. So in the midst of one of the bad weeks of this season.
Sometimes you pay $2 to have your question answered by us, and sometimes you pay $2 to have Life answer your question for you. And in this case, Life answered your question for you.
I do think that it's probably true.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to ask. Is the roster as good as we thought?
I think that we probably overrate our own players.
Yes.
Naturally.
Yes.
Like we know more about them. We like get closer to them. We see them more on, a week to week basis. So it's possible, and given how like MLS spend is reported, a lot of it's just like, okay, you spent more on your DPs, and like there's a lot of teams that have like similar enough like salary spend down their roster, except for, the amount that's invested in Evander and Denke, that there's, there are other good teams with similar talent profiles. But, so, I think there's always an element of overrating your own players. But I still feel that they haven't reached where they should be with the roster they have.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of potential explanations you can come up with for why that might be. But I think that there's still a lot of time for the team to get healthy, for the team to get together, and for us to see them like at their full potential.
I buy that. I think that makes sense. It is very funny on the idea of like overrating the players on your roster. This is every person who plays fantasy football's like number one issue, and then also complaint about playing fantasy football. It's impossible to trade with anybody else because everybody assumes I drafted this guy. He is the best running back in the league, and I will hear nothing else. I'm going to save that one for later. Price Assassins asks, how often is a match won based on tactics versus player skill versus just dumb luck?
I would say of the three of those, tactics factors in way less than you would think.
Ooh.
I think that by and large, the better roster usually wins a game. I would say that's probably like 3/4 of the time. The better roster usually wins the game. Who was it? Was it Infanto Gianni that made that like insane comment that what's great about soccer is that the best team doesn't always win like in other sports? And I'm like, my man, like this is the poster child for the sport where the better team usually wins.
Well, this is how it works in Europe, basically. Is the most expensive team wins the title.
Yeah.
Period. MLS, since there's more parity and because it's harder to like really outspend your opponents in a like meaningful way down the roster, probably tactics and luck, if anything, like factor in more. But yeah, I'm with Chief. Like by like far and away.
Yeah.
The thing that determines who wins is the better roster, and that is almost always determined by who spent more money.
And in MLS, it's not always who spends more money. It's also it's also like just nailing transactions. And you look at like, why is FC Cincinnati playing well right now? It kind of ties into the last question. They nailed signing Evander and Kevin Denke, and they have two elite level attacking talents on this team. Whereas like most teams, if they even have two DPs on the roster, one of them, but not both of them, are working out to the level that it was anticipated. And even of that, the level anticipated was probably at a lot lower than what was anticipated for signing a $12 million attacking midfielder and a $17 million striker. Like that level of ambition doesn't exist in most places in this league. So yeah, the team doing that is probably going to be at the top of the table.
Yeah. Albright missing on a guy is generally like, oh yeah, that guy's just like a guy and he's getting paid too much money. A lot of teams around this league have missed on guys, and we've missed on guys.
Yes,
where it's like, no, this guy can't play. This guy's useless.
Yeah, he might actually be a liability.
Either can't or won't play.
Right. I mean, just for perspective, like Yuya Kubo was brought in to be a designated player for this team. Now, that was many years ago at this point, but yeah, that's what you'd be looking at. If Yuya Kubo was still your designated player on this team, he'd be pretty pissed off at the roster build. The other thing, I can never remember who said this quote. I want to say it was an Italian coach who said, a good manager will make a team 10% better. A bad manager will make a team 30% worse. I think that generally comes out to be true. Good managers should be, obviously helping guys succeed and helping in the recruitment of the team and setting them up for success and finding the best places to have players play and set up patterns of play and all that stuff. That's all very good and well and great. But also we see it with national teams, coaches that don't have a lot of time with teams and players are still able to like get good performances out of teams. It's ultimately going to come down to player skill.
Also, something I like about soccer is you get like auteurs. Like you get like managers who's like have like this aesthetic vision.
Yes.
Of like what like and they have like a fully like Pep. Like he's got like a fully like mapped out thing about like what the most beautiful possible soccer ever could look like. You can't just send him to like Charlotte FC.
Right.
And just like make it happen.
Go cook.
You know, but like, so like you need to give these guys like a lot of resources to work out their vision. But it is like a weird thing where it's like a marriage. It's like Nolan getting like $1 billion to make Oppenheimer or whatever. Right.
Right.
It's like you get the resources matched together with the vision and you get something like incredible.
Right.
But it's not like you just hire a top tier manager to manage a crappy roster, and you know they'll probably learn some stuff
for sure.
But like they're not going to just like
maybe some life lessons.
But like I don't know if like Pep would have won the league with Leicester, for example.
Right.
I think that the bigger answer to this question at MLS is that I don't think I think of the talent first, luck second, tactics third, but above all of that is, I think the general manager in MLS matters so much more than anything else on the field, because the general manager managing the ability to acquire the talent means almost more than the talent itself.
Yeah, I buy that. On a similar note, Bailey Rolson. Jeez, oh Pete.
Good job.
Rolsen. Sorry, Bailey. Said, I believe Wilfred Nancy can be dropped into any MLS team and make a positive impact on that team. Do you think Pat Noonan can do the same?
Yes,
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I know we've you know, I think we probably have been, it would be probably fair to say we've been a little critical of like how the team has done this year.
Are we Pat Noonan's biggest critics?
Maybe. But I think absolutely you could drop Pat Noonan into any locker room in the league and he would make improvements in that team. And I think that's also true with the Columbus Crew.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Interesting.
I think it's very much part of what makes this rivalry so fascinating is that it is two diametrically opposed worldviews on how to build, construct, and manage a soccer team, where Nancy is what Grayson was describing earlier, the vision, the auteur that has an idea of how how things should look for a soccer team. Pat Noonan's a pragmatist. Pat Noonan, like it was in that clip that went viral of, you know, I don't use a lot of multi-syllable words. What Pat Noonan brings is just a relentless pragmatism of, you pay me to win soccer games, not paint you beautiful pictures. I'm going to take what you have right here and figure out the best way to deploy these people in order to win soccer games. And I don't particularly care how it looks.
I just had a cursed thought. Are Pat Noonan and Wilfred Nancy coaching the wrong teams? Nancy has the vision and does not have the budget for it. Noonan has the coaching philosophy to make it work with whoever walks through the door, as seen in the 2022 team.
I don't know if the results would be that much different between the two teams, to be honest. Like, you know, I would love to see our offense play like we've seen like Columbus play.
Yeah.
But, you know, like Columbus concedes in like bad ways sometimes.
Right. They're not that much ahead of us in goal difference either.
Yeah,
like
Columbus has scored 2 more goals than us this year. And that's the difference in the goal difference. And you know, I know we've both given up the same goals against, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it's also funny too. I'd like to watch like a wife swap show where like they both get control of the other team's club for a month. I think that would be incredible.
Leagues Cup.
and I guess like Nancy would kind of illustrate an exception to like the auteur theory I was like putting out, because MLS is a league which you mentioned that has like way more parity across the rosters.
Yeah. So
there is a little bit more of an opportunity for coaches to put a stamp, but still like hitting on your talent and like being willing to spend the money where you can spend it makes a huge difference in MLS.
Well, I mean, what kind of proves and disproves your argument at the same time is Wilfried Nancy with Montreal. With Montreal, one of the lowest budget teams in the league, was still playing like an attractive brand of soccer and way overperformed their expectations. But you saw that once he moved to Columbus and got an actual budget with a couple of actual DPs, they put up some of the best performances in the league. So yeah, that makes sense. Man, there's a lot about this. What? I'm just going to read this question verbatim. The first sentence threw me off, and I don't know what to think of it. I've not fully read this question, so I don't know what's going to happen by the end of it. Bart Sharkey asks, when do you start thinking like Moses or Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.?
Always thinking that way.
Quote, and he's allowed me to go up to the mountain. I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land, end quote. And that's the end of the question.
I mean, I'm already living in the promised land, babe.
What is the what's the quote? It's like a great society is one in which old men plant the seeds for trees they know they will not sit in the shade of, something along those lines. I
think instead we should be thinking, if the mountain will not come to Muhammad, Muhammad must go to the mountain.
Why does God need a starship?
What if God was one of us? What if Jesus came back like that?
This is a fun question. I like this one. Ann Sattler asks, I work for a local advertising and product procurement agency.
Yes, we will accept the sponsorship. Contact Kevin. Contact at thepostcincy.com.
Info at fccincinnati.com.
Evander at fccincinnati.com. I'm sure he has a player email.
I mean, he's hopefully been contacted already about that $5 million citizenship offer I just made for him.
So she works at the local company. We're the team, she said, fun fact, we're the team behind all the giant inflatable FCC balls you see around Cincinnati during the playoff season. Very fun. Cool. We're currently working to become the official vendor for FCC's promotional giveaways, like the towels handed out at games. What promotional items would you be excited to receive at a game?
Like $10.
Something with a QR code that links back to the Cincy postcast. Listen to the postcast.
To play off of an earlier answer, workout earbuds. I think if you could give people some nice Bluetooth earbuds, that would be good. No, I don't know.
It's an otherwise cult classic, forgotten gem of a film, but Matt Stone and Trey Parker's opus Basketball. There's one particularly bad performance for the Milwaukee Bears, and Al Michaels is the announcer, and he says, and what a terrible performance to happen at Dozen Egg Night. it's fans just throwing eggs onto the field. There was another one that was Free Range Chicken Night. They're just all wandering around.
I would say, I'm probably not the right person to ask this question to.
Yeah.
But I'll say this. The towels get used.
Yeah. The towels are fun.
Especially when you have like a 6-goal effort like we had against Miami last year.
Right. The went to a Reds game on Saturday, which was fun. It was the Big Red Machine, like honoring the team.
Good. We haven't talked about them enough in this town.
In fairness, they brought all the living members of the team out. It was nice.
Cool.
But they gave out, I am hoping though that we can just kind of put the team to rest after this point. But they gave out really nice ball caps. They were like genuinely really good, really nice quality. And I feel like we haven't done a hat giveaway for FCC. So I think a hat would be good.
Free hat.
People love a free hat. People love bobbleheads. People love the bobbleheads too much. In fact, I'm anti-bobblehead. Don't do bobbleheads.
Oh man. So here's the other reason I'm the wrong person to ask about a giveaway.
Please.
I don't live in like a household where it's like the best place to like have just more crap sitting around.
Yeah.
And so I generally just pass on stuff because it's going to end up as clutter.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have to have a conversation about it. Like,
you don't want to talk to people, and I get that. Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, I don't want to talk to one specific person about clutter.
like, where does this live?
Right.
I don't know. I don't know.
It was fine there until you started talking.
Okay. I thought it was okay there. I guess I thought wrong.
That's its home. What are you doing? You can't evict it. A lot of that stuff ends up at the office in the cubicle. That's where a lot of FCC promotional stuff has ended up. Where I have a Bluetooth speaker that I think I mentioned on the last episode. Let's see. KP asks, with our Club World Cup attendance so low, is FIFA going to come here for events again? KP, I ask, have you seen this tournament?
Yeah, they said there's over 1 million seats that went unsold in the group stage of the Club World Cup. So a topic for another episode when we have a different episode. I think soccer is oversaturated in the United States market.
I would agree with that. I also think Europeans don't understand that, like, you can't just put an event in London and assume everybody in England interested in that event will be able to get there. Like, you can't just put a team or like a game in Cincinnati and be like, oh yeah, all the Americans that want to see this game will be in Cincinnati for this. Just it cannot
pop down
work.
on the train.
We had 24,000 today for the women's national team in a friendly against the Republic of Ireland.
A team they played like 3 days before or whatever.
A team nobody cares about.
Right.
Look,
It's not even St. Patrick's Day.
They'll keep bringing stuff here. I'm not worried about that. There is nothing that went wrong in Cincinnati with the Club World Cup that didn't go wrong in the same or worse way at any of the other host sites.
Yeah.
If they care about attendance, they know how to do it. They can make the games more at times and that are more friendly to having full stadiums. They made a decision to have games on weekdays in the middle of the day and early afternoon because they were thinking that, they'd get more TV numbers abroad. I haven't seen the TV numbers. I don't know if that worked out or not, but my assumption is if that didn't work out, they'll just make a different decision next time. Like, this is the first time they've done it. They probably made 100 mistakes that they'll revisit.
Just buy more FIFA coin if you want to make sure it comes to Cincinnati again.
That's a good point. It does help that we have the reputation of having the best soccer specific stadium in the country. So I think that fact alone will help until people build better ones. So there you go. Cuccio asks, what's your biggest pet peeve? And no, you can't say listeners asking dumb questions.
People that walk slowly.
Oh, that's good. I
hate that. That's like a huge pet peeve of mine. It's like just people that seem to have no visible thing to do when they're walking around.
Mine would be people walking slowly, but also like, 3-4 across the sidewalk.
Yeah,
that's brutal.
Or they're like weaving for some reason.
Yeah.
So I have to like guess where they're going to be so I can pass them. Walk at your own speed. I don't care. But try to understand that like you're part of traffic, part of the walking traffic. So like people are going to pass you. So just take up like one person's number of space.
One that gets me, and I know this is stupid and very much, being preachy, but texting while driving really gets me. But one specific area where it has bothered me to no end is occasionally a circumstance will arise where I will have to drop my kids off at the school drop-off line in the car. And the way that our school does it is that there's 2 lanes of drop-off, and they do it like in batches. But there's lots of cars moving around where lots of kids are walking, and it's an elementary school. They're younger, they're smaller, they're darting in and out between the cars. There are parents just like fully texting and watching videos, and their car is moving and driving in the school zone. And
hell yeah.
Just like
living life on hard mode.
Gotta run over your own damn kid. Like, that's fine. You don't want to care about anybody else's kids. It's not fine, but whatever. That's where we are these days. But don't you at least care a little bit? You might run over your own kid.
I guess on theme with this is it's just generally people that drive in urban environments don't understand that there are pedestrians.
Oh my God. You can tell when a suburbanite ends up downtown.
Like, something that happens with me all the time is as somebody who like walks and runs a lot downtown, I'll be like crossing and somebody will have a left turn arrow and they will just slam on their gas to start turning before they ever look to see if anybody's crossing on the street. And it's always like a game. And I'm like, okay, when are they going to stop? Right. Right. And sometimes they stop like right in front of me. And actually in a different way, which is another way drivers do sometimes, is drivers who are turning on a one-way street and only look in the direction that traffic is coming from. I got basically hit by a car last week.
Jeez.
Where I was on a run. I was on the crosswalk. I had the walk symbol, and this car was just scooting forward. And I was like, well, I got the walk symbol. He'll stop it. But then he started to like turn. And fortunately he wasn't like slamming on the car or anything. His car hit me on the side, and I had to like jump back and ended up putting my hands like on the side of his car, not because I was like trying to get his attention or anything, just because that was like where my hands went. Like I was just like so close to the car. I was like, whoa.
You know what would fix this? Walking faster.
No, it wouldn't have.
Chief is declaring skill issue.
No, because I would have been
slow walking. I'm telling you, it's the cause of all the problems.
Because when he started to go, I was close enough. I was early enough that I was able to jump back. If I'd been in like the center of his car,
that's a good point.
He just would have ran me over.
Jesus. When I worked downtown, it was a pretty rough morning walking out of the parking garage, and pedestrian took one right on the hip. Same idea, but they weren't so lucky. Mark Wolf asks, for Pete's sake, shouldn't we return to poetry that rhymes? And then Mark gave us a poem that I will read. He said, as an example, enjoy this beauty. And it goes, on the chest of a barmaid in sale are tattooed all the prices of ale, and on her behind, for the sake of the blind, is the same list of prices in Braille. There you go. How do we feel about poems that rhyme?
They all become rappers and make real money. Kevin, give us one more and get us out of here.
The last one is Kells Bells, who asks, was there a curse placed on the players who held out preseason? Luka, Yuya, Lucho.
I don't know if it's a curse, but like fair warning to everybody going into the next offseason.
Yeah. Now, Kells does ask, if so, by whom and how do we break it? Is there an anti-curse we can put on our holdouts here?
I don't know, but I do think that it's a situation of you have to like you have to just think about like, am I improving my position if I don't get what I want by holding out?
Yeah.
Am I improving my position by having like missed a bunch of a bunch of training camp, and I feel like some of these guys just like kind of misevaluated, how easy it would be to just jump back in without a preseason.
Yeah. I think on a similar note, I'm looking at a lot of our U.S. men's national team starters a little differently going into the next World Cup.
It's the curse of Brenner for anyone that doesn't show up to play. If you're not playing for FC Cincinnati despite being under contract, Brenner has cursed you.
I think that's it. Does that mean to break the curse, we have to bring Brenner back?
Build back Brenner.
Build back Brenner. He's not a member of the MLSPA, is he? Surely.
Are you a member for life after you?
No, he's not in the union. He doesn't work here anymore.
I don't know how a single entity works.
I don't know. If, I thought, do you get your union card that it's good for a couple years after you leave too?
Well, what I'm saying is, can we make a Build Back Brenner T-shirt?
Or it's like a SAG-AFTRA thing, where as long as you've been in one production, right, they automatically give you membership for life.
I just want to make a Build Back Brenner T-shirt and not have the MLSPA get involved.
Yeah. Some other Brenner.
There we go. Well, Chief, we still have a couple of leftover June questions that'll roll into July. Classic us.
Kevin, I also to inform you that your prediction that this game was done and dusted seems to be holding up, as Vancouver is still leading 1-0.
I told you, they are inevitable. The Whitecaps are inevitable this year.
Yeah. Well, they're better than Columbus. Fuck Columbus.
The Cincy Postcast is a production of The Post Cincy. You can check us out online at thepostcincy.com. You can also follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky, Facebook, and Instagram. Twitter and Blue Sky, though, you'll find we're a little more active than the other places. We're also on YouTube, where you can listen to this episode if you aren't listening to it already. We are also putting up video content semi-regularly, including the Away Days series. We want to give a huge thank you to Jim Trace and the Makers for providing the music for this episode. They're a lovely band, and you can find more information out about them in the description of this episode. And if you happen to enjoy what you just heard, can I please ask that you like us, that you rate us on whatever app you're listening to, and maybe more importantly than all of that, share this episode with a friend. When it comes up at work, you're talking about FC Cincinnati, I say, hey, I listened to an FC Cincinnati podcast. I think you guys will like it. It would really, really help us out. Nothing helps a podcast travel more than a good recommendation from a friend, family member. That would be awesome. When it comes to the sorting algorithms that control our lives, a 5-star review would be much appreciated. Also, leaving a sort of written review weirdly does more than that. That's how the algorithms work. So maybe say a nice or a mean thing, whatever. Just as long as you give us 5 stars, that'll really, really, really help us out. And if you are looking for more MLS content, check out our other podcast, The World's Gam. Again, a link will be in the description of this episode. That is where we touch on league-wide storylines and news, and we talk about other games and a couple other teams in there as well. I think you will enjoy it if you are just dipping your toes into Major League Soccer. A huge thank you to all of our sponsors. A even bigger thank you to all of our patrons over at Patreon. But maybe most importantly, thank you for listening to this episode.